Hey everyone, welcome back to Mystery Infinity, where we uncover the hidden gems of history and share tales that bring the past to life. Today, we're diving into a story that's not just about war, but about the power of language and the uncelebrated heroes who used it in an extraordinary way. We're talking about the Navajo Code Talkers, a group of unsung heroes from World War II whose story is a fascinating blend of bravery, intelligence, and innovation. Imagine a world where your language, your voice, becomes the key to outsmarting the enemy in one of the biggest conflicts our world has ever seen. That's the story of the Navajo Code Talkers. It's a tale that takes us from the vast deserts of the American Southwest to the fierce battlefields of the Pacific, where a code, born from an ancient language, became an unbreakable secret weapon. So, buckle up as we step into the past to explore this incredible chapter of history, where mystery and cultural pride intertwine to create a narrative like no other. The Call to Duty. World War II, a time when the world was a chessboard of strategy, espionage, and the desperate need for secure communication. Picture this: armies clashing, secrets being passed, and the ever-looming threat of interception by the enemy. In this high-stakes game, the U.S. Marines were on the lookout for something that could give them an edge, and they found it, not in technology, but in a language, the Navajo language. Enter the Navajo Code Talkers, a group of Navajo men recruited by the Marines, but not just for their ability to fight. They were brought in for their native language, a language so intricate and unique that it was practically a code in itself. The Navajo language, unwritten and spoken by a small population, was a linguistic goldmine, perfect for confidential communication. It was like discovering a secret tunnel in a fortress, unseen and undetectable by the enemy. These men were not your average soldiers. They were walking, talking ciphers. The beauty of the Navajo language, with its complex syntax and tonal qualities, made it incredibly difficult for non-Navajo speakers to understand. It's like if you tried to crack a code where one word could mean multiple things depending on how high or low your voice was. Pretty tricky, right? This recruitment was a game-changer. The Navajo Code Talkers were about to take their language, a language once suppressed and undervalued, and turn it into one of the most powerful tools in the U.S. military's arsenal. They were stepping onto the battlefield, but their weapons were their words, and their armor was their heritage. Crafting the unbreakable code. When the Navajo Code Talkers got down to business, they weren't just chatting. They were crafting a linguistic masterpiece. Imagine taking your native language and flipping it into a secret code so complex, it could stump any enemy. That's exactly what these linguistic magicians did. They took everyday Navajo words and gave them new, secret meanings connected to military terms. It's like saying, turtle, when you mean, tank, or, potato, for, grenade. Sounds fun, right? It's like the code language you might have created with friends, but way more sophisticated and with higher stakes. These code words were ingeniously chosen. For instance, a battleship was translated to whale, and America became our mother. This wasn't just a simple word-for-word translation. It was about embedding layers of meaning into each term. The Code Talkers turned the Navajo language into a living, breathing cryptogram, a puzzle that the enemy couldn't solve even if they tried really, really hard. The process of developing this code wasn't just about being clever with words. It was about understanding the essence of both the Navajo language and military strategy. The Code Talkers had to ensure that each word was distinct enough to avoid confusion but common enough to be remembered. It was like playing a high-stakes game of linguistic Tetris, fitting each word perfectly into its place. The result? A masterpiece of encryption. This code was so effective that even the best enemy cryptographers, who cracked codes for breakfast, were left scratching their heads. It was unbreakable, a word that in the world of wartime communication was as good as gold. The Navajo Code Talkers had not just created a code. They had woven a tapestry of language that would become one of the most legendary tools in the history of warfare. The code in action. Once the Navajo Code Talkers hit the battlefield, it was showtime for their unbreakable code. Picture this. Amidst the chaos and clamor of war, these men were calmly relaying messages that could turn the tide of a battle. Their code, a symphony of secrecy, played a pivotal role in some of the most intense battles, including the legendary Iwo Jima. In Iwo Jima, the Code Talkers were like the secret superstars. While bullets whizzed and shells exploded, they transmitted over 800 messages without a single error. That's like hitting a bullseye 800 times in a row in a high-pressure dart game, but with much, much higher stakes. Their messages were a critical part of coordinating movements, calling in artillery strikes, and even saving lives. And they did it all at lightning speed, faster than any machine could at that time. It was like they had broadband speed in a dial-up era. The accuracy and speed of the Code Talkers were not just impressive, they were game-changers. In the heat of battle, every second counted, and their ability to communicate swiftly and clearly was like having a superpower. Enemy forces, on the other hand, were left utterly bamboozled. They could intercept the messages, sure, but decoding them? Good luck with that. It was as if the Code Talkers were speaking in riddles wrapped in enigmas, broadcast on a frequency only the Allies could tune into. These were more than just messages. They were lifelines, secret maps, and hidden instructions all rolled into one. The Code Talkers' contribution was not just about the words they spoke. It was about the hope and strategy they conveyed. In the din of warfare, their voices were the ones that pierced through, carrying not just coded words, but the very keys to victory. Beyond the battlefield. The story of the Navajo Code Talkers isn't just a tale of wartime heroism. It's a saga that echoes beyond the battlefields. These remarkable men faced challenges that didn't just vanish with the end of the war. Their bravery under fire was unquestionable, but back home, they stepped into a different kind of battle, one for recognition and respect in a world that was slow to acknowledge their contributions. Upon returning home, many of the Code Talkers were met with a harsh reality. Their heroic deeds were classified, wrapped in the shroud of secrecy. It was like finishing a marathon only to find out there's no finish line, no cheering crowd, just a quiet walk back to the starting point. They couldn't even share their incredible stories, as their code, their contribution to the war, remained a government secret for decades. But the challenges weren't just about recognition. Many Code Talkers returned to a country still grappling with cultural understanding and acceptance. They had fought for a nation where, back on their reservations, they faced ongoing issues of poverty, lack of resources, and cultural marginalization. It's like being a hero in one world and a forgotten voice in another. Yet, through all these challenges, the resilience and strength of the Navajo people, as embodied by the Code Talkers, shone brightly. They carried their experiences with a quiet dignity, maintaining the integrity of their language and culture. Their story isn't just about the words they spoke. It's about the unspoken strength, the endurance in the face of adversity, and the slow but eventual recognition of their invaluable service. The legacy of the Code Talkers goes beyond codes and battlefields. It's woven into the fabric of the struggle for respect and recognition of indigenous peoples and their invaluable contributions to history. Legacy of the Code Talkers. The legacy of the Navajo Code Talkers is a tapestry woven with threads of bravery, resilience, and a language that became a lifeline during one of the darkest times in modern history. As the years rolled on, the silence surrounding their contributions finally broke, like the dawn after a long night. The world began to recognize these unsung heroes, not just as footnotes in history, but as central figures in the narrative of World War II. Their recognition was a slow burn, not an overnight blaze. It wasn't until 1968 that their operations were declassified, and the world got a glimpse of the vital role they played. But it was worth the wait. The Code Talkers were eventually awarded medals, celebrated in parades, and honored in history books. It was like watching hidden treasures being unearthed, glinting in the sunlight for the first time. Beyond the medals and accolades, the story of the Code Talkers reshaped our understanding of indigenous contributions to global events. They reminded us that heroes come in different forms, often speaking different languages. Their legacy is a bridge between cultures, a testament to the power of diversity and the incredible impact of combining unique cultural strengths for a common good. Today, the legacy of the Navajo Code Talkers lives on, not just in history lessons, but in the heartbeats of every language, every culture that has contributed to the rich tapestry of our world. Their story is a beacon, illuminating the importance of preserving indigenous languages and cultures. It reminds us that sometimes, the most powerful weapon in our arsenal is the one we speak, the one that tells the story of who we are. And that's the remarkable tale of the Navajo Code Talkers, a story woven with courage, ingenuity, and a language that became a key to victory in times of turmoil. If this journey through hidden history has captivated you, Why not share it with others? Hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating tales, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us uncover more stories of unsung heroes and forgotten chapters in history. Stay tuned to Mystery Infinity for more intriguing facts, stories from history, science, and beyond, because every story shared is a tribute to those who've shaped our world in ways we're just beginning to understand. Keep exploring, and keep the legacy alive.